We will look today at the connectivity of the body. This is the advancement on the work we have done with elastic bands, whereby we opening the body, extending the body with as minimal muscular involvement as possible, such that it can activate on the level of connective tissues, and thereby connect as the entirety of one elastic unit. The difference of this kind of work from the work of strength building, whereby we lift the body weight or we lift the external weights, weightlifting, is that it operates on the level of connective tissue rather than the muscles. So what muscles do? They connect the, well, one bone to another and make it, say, flex or extend. The extensors here, the flexors here. That's the operation of the muscles. Flexion of the hand, extension of the hand, everything to do with the body, torso, legs. We manipulate the body weight from these hinges using muscles. This movement is quite mechanical, jerky. We don't want to operate on this level of movement for the advancement of our practice, for our practice to be flowing into the realm of the internal. We need to access the level of connective tissue. The difference of the connective tissue work with the work, say, we do of building density in the lower field by engaging the poles, opposing poles of the hands, magnetic field, which then affects the tissues inside the body. The difference is that in this case, the hands lead the internal movement. The field which is built affects the body and causes change, certain consolidation, certain densening. So you have that, building strength by building muscles, by building mobility, and building the insides by means of manipulating the internal subtle tissues. And then we have that work of connecting the body, engaging the connective tissues. So what does this work do? As we have been doing with the elastic bands, it kind of tries to bypass the muscular involvement, but it also does not directly engage the internal by means of the hands. We want to bypass the muscle, we want to abandon the external contraction as much as we can in order to access this connectivity. So first, how it's done is by wuji, the neutral stance, the ability to suspend the tissues of the bones. So first of all, we keep the skeleton upright, then we suspend the occiput, then we release the pelvis, sitting from the hip crease, not from the big muscles of the periphery. We want to sit, not squat. We want to disengage as much as possible these big muscles, the thighs, the glutes. So a few times, coming up, suspending the occiput, sitting through the hip crease, dropping. Then, as we raise, try not to engage these muscles. Try to release, let go. Let go through the thighs, let go through the iliotibial tract, let go through the glutes, let go through the hip flexors. Folding from the quad, the crease, as if closing here. Then, leave the shoulders, let the shoulders sink and feel them in the feet. Lift, drop, and feel the weight slightly increase in the feet. We want this. We want the shoulders sat and felt in the feet. Then take this point, suprasternal notch, release it, such that the behind the sternum, everything lets go. Then our tailbone, we'll not let it drop. Then the hands, elasticate the hands. Release shoulders even more so. Release the suprasternal notch. Empty the chest by releasing any tension, any puffed upness from the chest. Releasing the diaphragm. Releasing the abdomen. Dropping the sacrum. Letting the pelvis fall off the spine. Letting the weight of the torso travel through the legs, bypass the knees, into the shins, through the feet, into the ground. A few moments just resting here in wuji. So this is key, this is crucial. This is the baseline of the Sinew Changing Classic. We want to disengage the external muscles. We don't want to move from the gross, big groups of muscles. We want to drop them, release them of the bones, such that the internal stretch is accessed. It is sensible to spend maybe 10-15 minutes here before starting the practice. But in order to progress through the exercise, I'll stop here. So we sustain this, sustain the release of the tissues. Bones up, flesh down. Now, we're going to use the arm movements to sort of stress a little bit this connectivity. What I'm gonna do is take one arm first and draw it, fingers up, along the central line, up, till about here to the head, and here I'm going to turn it around the middle finger. So the line which runs from the middle finger through the center of the forearm to the elbow. I'm going to turn the hand around this line, extending it further up, and then dropping it down. And I repeat, scooping under, following with the fingers along the center line till it reaches about forehead. I start to turn the hand and the forearm around the middle finger and let it travel down. So I want my fingers extended all the time, extended yet not tense. Extended up, turning around middle finger, sink down. Extending up, turning around middle finger, sinking down. And around, down and release. Up and around, down and release. My shoulder remains sat. As I lift the hand here, sit the shoulder. Like bringing the hand here, make sure the shoulder is sat. And as I lift the hand up, turning around middle finger, shoulder remains sat. I don't lift the shoulder up like so, it remains sat. And down. So as the movement pattern becomes clear to you, absorb the mind inside the body. Inside the torso in particular, inside the ribs, behind the ribs, and disengage the external. Disengage the hand, disengage the arm, disengage the shoulder. Just maintain the structure of the stretch and disengage as much as possible of any external muscular tension. Leave a bare minimum that you need in order to perform the movement, and minimize it every time you do the movement. Less effort, more attention inside. All the way through, I sustain the qualities of wuji. My pelvis is dropping away from the occiput. Top of the neck. Sorry, top of the sternum, bottom of the neck. Release, chest empties. Bring the mind inside. Bring the mind inside the torso. Again, you can stay with one arm for as long as you wish, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. But then switch to another arm. Same technique. Fingers travel through the middle line, around here, turning around the middle finger. Drop in the hand, palm facing down, and then scooping up again. Scoop in through the center, turning around the middle finger, screwing around. Extending the fingers, keeping the shoulders set, hands down, and repeat. Establish the correct technique, then work on the subtle qualities. Release again, like here. Suspend your fingers and drop the shoulder away from them. As you screw in the fingers up around the middle finger, keep your shoulders set. Release all the tissues, all the muscles that are not necessary there. And bring the mind inside. Now, I want the movement to originate from the inside, rather than originating on the surface level of external muscles, such as what is involved here: deltoid, trapeze, bicep, tricep, all the extensors and stabilizers of the forearm. Where I want movement to originate is here, inside the torso. Here. How it's happening? Well, absorb the mind into the body. Listen inside. Listen inside, release the outside. Gradually, as I go through these movements, I notice how the stress slightly increases throughout the whole structure of the body, which enables me to release more throughout the posture, accentuating principles of wuji. The more stress I feel, the more I can let go. I let go, dropping the pelvis away from the ribs. I let go, sitting the shoulder. I let go of any unnecessary external clumsy muscular effort. This is the practice of connectivity of the body, is the practice of refinement. How efficient is your movement? The degree of involvement of connective tissues as opposed to gross muscles, which create hinge joint movement, determines how efficient your movement is. curiously enough, if the involvement of connective tissue is done correctly, at some stage that simple movement can be very difficult to do. Your arm can feel lead heavy. Can feel like all the tissues are tight and stuck. It's okay, we just persevere, we just do more repetitions. This is why the movement is so simple, which allows us to do it again and again and again, absorbing the mind inside, refining the quality of connection. Eventually we want that will arise, of course we want it, but we must not aim it as a result, we must not fabricate it. We must follow the cause. The cause is simply this. Following the technique, absorbing the mind inside. The result, which we want, will arise as like this amoeba, single cellular organism or jellyfish kind of movement, which originates from the inside and expands out. So after a while of doing it on another hand, we bring both hands in. So both hands scoop in, follow through the center line, turn around middle finger around here, and extend down. So I let my hands travel on about 30 degrees angle away from the body. It's not like this in line with the body, it's about here, yeah, not all the way here, about here, such that we have shoulder blades spread. So shoulder blades not squeezed together here, they're spread, yeah. At the same time, back is not rounded, yeah, we don't want this, we want it neutral. But the hands are on about 45, not 30, not 45 degrees. Again, re-establish the wuji. Drop in the pelvis away from the head. Sit in the shoulders. Letting the arms release as much as possible. Releasing all the external involvement and absorbing the mind. First, absorb the mind inside the chest and stay there. Listen on the inside. You can close your eyes whilst you're doing this. There's really nothing to see. And go inside. And spread through the inside, spread throughout the middle of the torso, the diaphragm, all the way down to the base of the pelvic floor. And notice what happens, how tissues engage when your mind is absorbed into them, when you're listening. Keep noting the qualities as per wuji structure. Make sure that pelvis doesn't tilt anteriorly or posteriorly, that it's dropping away from the ribs, that the coccyx releasing down. Make sure that the weight doesn't get stuck on your knees. Let it travel through the legs, through the soft tissue, through the shins, onto the earth. And feel the contact of the foot with the ground. Keep releasing, releasing as much as possible of any tension. Make sure that the weight of the body doesn't get stuck inside the joints. And as a result, which again you must not fabricate as you practice, is that all the angularity, all the hinge-like feeling in the movement will disappear. Eventually, it will feel like you're moving around the sphere. All your joints are kind of gone. It's like you're swimming through air or moving through molasses. This sort of feeling. That's another marker that the connective tissues have connected. That they've engaged, and this honeycomb type of structure has enveloped the body. First you'll feel it in the torso, then it will spread through into the legs. The more you release the pelvis, the more you release the weight of the body through the legs. Eventually, as this connectivity grows, whatever movement you do, you may flick your finger and it will be felt as a ripple through the rest of the body. This is one thing moves, all body moves type of principle. It's where it starts to arise. But again, you cannot fabricate it in any way, even if you try. You may kinda, now as I have explained to you the feeling which may arise, you may sort of intend it and pretend that it's happening, but it's not going to be happening. It must arise on its own accord from just repetition of this practice or absorption of the mind into the body. So feel free to go with each pattern of movement. One hand, another hand, both hands together for as long as you need. In the end, again, return to wuji, re-establish all the alignments, all the qualities. Release the suprasternal notch, release the chest. Release the diaphragm, drop the pelvis and coccyx away from the ribs. Sit the shoulders, let them drop away from the ears. Feel them in your feet. Elasticate the palms, let that elastication travel into the forearms. So eventually here, it is here in wuji that you got to bring this connectivity in. The result, that when you here stand in wuji, that the connectivity is present, the whole body is one unit, and that's where we can truly work with release and absorption of the mind, causing consolidation at the base, freeing on the top, and attainment of correct quality, correct abiding quality for our practice. So this work is not Qigong. It is not, obviously, not the physically based joint opening type of body development. It is specifically work of developing connectivity. Practice that, probably each pattern 10 minutes. You can rest in between of each pattern, say do one arm, rest in wuji for a few minutes, another arm, rest in wuji for a few minutes, and both arms, then again rest in wuji for 5-10 minutes, just re-establishing this awareness on the inside. Practice this until the results arise, until the body connects like one unit, one honeycomb. one thing moves and all things move. So add this to your practice. Thank you.